Please, Internet. Welcome to my country life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now live. Hooray! All right. Welcome, brilliant beauties. Happy kickoff to Memorial Day weekend. Structure generates behavior. So I chose this time on this day to see who joined me for this. Who are those who are uber committed, right? I had a conversation with an individual who said, oh, now you can't see video. Interesting. I had a conversation with an individual who told me, you don't want to use the word discover because people who are in discovery, they're not fully committed. You want the committed. The committed are those who achieve high levels of success because they behave in ways that are different. So today I'm going to share with you how the top 2% spend Memorial Day weekend. Are you ready, my friends? And I want to invite you to stay with me until the end. And in the comments, tell me, what is your one commitment? Here's why. Because when we state our goals, we open an energetic portal that invites God, the angels, guardians of the galaxies, protectors, higher councils into our lives. And that energy space is where I want you to be in your business. I want you to be thriving with a vibrant energy, with optimal health, with that emotional well being. A lot of my clients right now have, in this week of our work in High Performance Leadership Academy, have expressed their desire to focus on emotional well being. And I can tell you, oh my gosh, I need it too. And I'm so excited to share with you some of the biobehavioral choices we're going to talk about being in the top 2%. Those choices, guess what? Those choices actually have an impact, a very significant impact on your emotional well being. And so that's exciting. I want you to write this in your journals. Top 2%, that's me. We're going to claim that. I'm going to show you on this screen how to pick your percent and associate that with your earning potential. That's what helped me quadruple my income. And now I'm ready to do it again, but this time with the biobehavioral practices that I learned during my cancer journey. So very excited about that because they will have you sleeping better. They will have you waking before your alarm with vibrant energy. They will have you focused and fierce throughout the day so that your work is done by, get this, maybe 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Imagine what you could do when you get a whole second day, right? All of a sudden, you've got time for self-care. You've got time for the gym. You've got time to bathe in the forest if you'd like. You've got time, honey. Amazing. So I want you to enter into the comments, what is the one thing you're committed to doing? This isn't for those who want to discover. This is for those who are committed, right? The world filters out the uncommitted. My favorite CEO taught me that. And I want you, I don't want you filtered out, baby. I want you in the game, right? I want you on the field. I'm a baseball girl. I love baseball. So I want to see you out there with your stirrups, with your cleats, out in the field, ready to play and have a great time. And so what I'll be doing is taking the comments and I'm going to be actually praying and manifesting your goals right alongside you into existence. A former version of myself would have thought that was absolutely lunatic. However, I've learned about the power of prayer. I teach that in High Performance Leadership Academy if you want to deep dive into that subject. And I've also learned how to manifest and awaken the intuition that's within us. There's actually a meal plan that I use to do that, and that's also part of High Performance Leadership Academy. So very excited about the parts of that program that I've built for those who want to awaken to divine abundance in their lives as well. And your comment will allow me to do that manifesting work alongside of you so that you can be a little lighter. You don't have to do all of this all by yourself. Hallelujah for that. That's my favorite lesson learned in my cancer journey, was that I wasn't alone doing everything. It wasn't me versus the world anymore. I had a whole team, a medical team, a team throughout my neighborhood and community, in my family. It was absolutely one of the most amazing seasons of my life, and I can't even believe I'm saying that, right? And so we can do hard things. We can make it through incredibly hard times. And one of the best things of manifesting, literally one of my high performance coaching clients had a $7 million home on the market for over 70 days. And she said, let's try this. We manifested together that night. I aligned myself, got my bio tuning and frequencies, all of the HZ frequencies up my entire chakra system, really did a sound cleanse on my body. Again, another thing that if you're unfamiliar with, I would love to teach you about. And in that space, whoo, guess what? She got an offer the next day. We were both like, what? The power that is in us, my friends, is tremendous. It is tremendous. So I want to see your comment because that's going to do two things. One, it's going to open up that energetic portal for the divine to come and express flow, a flow state in your life so that you may achieve your goals at a faster rate. It will also allow me to start manifesting on your behalf and to use my soul and my energy to assist you in achieving your goals. That's one of my favorite things to do. So as you see in front of you here, I want you, as you think about performance, to pick your percent. I learned this because I had struggled financially for so long. My daughter's biological father left us when I was pregnant, and I couldn't even figure out, my daughter never had a high chair. I couldn't figure out how I was going to afford to raise this child. I was broke as a joke as an educator. She never had a high chair. I struggled to afford grapes. That's an expensive fruit. Let's just be honest. I really struggled with like the fruit snacks that all the kids loved. I didn't want to get her the cheap kind that are loaded with additives and all kinds of toxins. And the kind with no fruit, high fructose corn syrup were so expensive. The struggle was real in those years. And when I ended up in a legal battle with her psychological father, I felt so defeated. It was my second time battling this individual who tried suing me for kidnapping a child that wasn't his. I'm just saying, my life's been a little crazy. So in that journey, as I was preparing for this lawsuit, my coach said to me, why are you bringing your old playbook, your old self, into this new challenge? And I thought to myself, I had no idea what she meant. I was afraid to call on my attorney team because I knew how expensive that was, and I was really freaking out. And she said to me, she said, you know what? You're not that woman anymore. And that, I wasn't even planning on talking about this today, but that resonates deeply with me right now. In the comments below, I want to know, does that resonate with you, sweetheart? Because we bring some of our old defeated selves to the party, and we're not that woman anymore. And so at that time, I was in the space where I think I was at 3x at the time. I wasn't quite to 4x. Actually, no, I might have just been at 2x. 2.53. I'll have to do some math outside of our lifetime together. But when she said that, I was like, I'm in the top 10% of earners? What does that mean? And so I went and Googled the top percents. And according to the 2021 Economic Policy Institute, the top 10% of earners, for those of you who aren't able to see the screen at this time, are earning $167,639 a year. The top 5%, this is where it really jumps, $335,891. Top 1%, $819,324. And the top 0.1%, $3,312,693. Set your sights big and you will get there. When that woman told me that, I was still bringing my broke as a joke playbook to the game of life. I had no idea. But once she set my course and I said, I am going to be financially sound and abundant. And wow, I'm just saying, amazing things happen. You can get yourself into those top percentages of earners. So let's keep our mind focused on being smart, savvy, successful women. Now let's talk leadership. What you see here is the empowered leadership model. It's basically 3 nested circles because each and every day we all lead the most difficult person on the planet. I have had the honor of working in all 3 of those domains, leading leaders, leading others, and leading myself. The reason those circles are nested is because we all lead ourselves. In my leadership career, I can honestly tell you about the most difficult person I've ever had to lead in my life, and that's me. That's why you see the self as the largest circle. I encourage you to write this down in your notes. Our minds are very visual, and this will help get this information into your long term memory and retention. Some of us lead others, and fewer lead leaders. But just because you might not be leading leaders or leading others does not mean that you're not a leader. If you've convinced your child to do their homework, you're a leader. If you've convinced your child to eat a healthy meal, you're a leader. If you have helped a friend through a challenge and navigated them towards the right direction, you're a leader. So let's lead with great intention, ladies. And I want you to be thinking about leading a Romans 12:2 lifestyle this weekend. You were not designed for the mediocre middle. As you know, I'm a mathematician. So you take that normal distribution curve and the behaviors that are common that lead to, let's talk about the state of our nation. It's not a pretty place. I actually asked ChatGPT. You're going to get to see that later today. But you don't have to look far to, or even put your ear all the way to the ground to hear that we are in a state of anxiety, depression, obesity, disease. I just look at, and even our financial futures, if you look at the research on the financial futures of the average American, most are drowning in debt and do not have a whole lot of financial stability and security. And fortunately, the people that I work with, we behave outside of that norm. However, I want to talk about that norm because I want you picturing that normal distribution curve, and I want you expressing gratitude for every standard deviation that you've worked to achieve outside of that norm. And way outside of that norm, in those top 2%, that's where I want you aiming. That's where you sparkle like glitter. You shine like a diamond in that space. So quit allowing the mediocre middle to determine your worth, to influence your mindset. And today we're going to talk about mostly your mind and your behavior. Your next level of success requires a new and improved you. And here's the great news, sweetheart. That new and improved you is already in you. So all we've got to do is shed the layers of our false selves to get rid of the negative narratives and the naming that we do, and invite that fun, loving, kind, caring, thoughtful, go with the flow version of you to the party. I want you to write this in your journals. I am a woman who, for me, I am a woman who loves my daughter, and I am willing to practice discernment and discipline in the spirit of creating our best lives. I want to role model the way while she's watching. So this kind of work is identity work. We have to look inward. So often we're conditioned by the world to look at what we do, what is on our to-do list, right? I sit here and I look at this darn thing and I'm like, what's on the list? What do I have to do today or this week? Instead, I want you focusing more on who you are and who you are becoming. I keep that in this journal. So as you can see, I'm doing some identity work. I'm taking notes about who I am and who I'm becoming. I'm also, you want to see a real secret page? Taking a lot of notes on what inspires me, because what inspires me is also a part of who I am. It's a way to get that inner expression out into the world. So identity work can be some of the most fun work because you get to reinvent yourself regularly. As Mark Sanborn says in The Fred Factor, I loved that book. Reinvent yourself regularly. And you're not starting from the beginning, you're starting from experience. Thank you, Mel Robbins, for teaching us that, right? You're not reinventing, starting completely over again. You're starting from experience. So let's do some of this identity work. As you see on the slides here, I'm Dr. J. I am a horse mom at heart. It has been my daughter's love of horses that has helped me grow my career. It's my greatest source of inspiration for income and why I've chosen to be that powerhouse woman who can earn it. And I didn't want to come home from the school building where I would tell every child, you can be anything your heart desires, and come home and tell my own child, I'm sorry, we can't afford that, sweetheart. And so I had to make shift happen. And I became a courageous career changer. And I now love helping people put courage right into their pocket and walk through their day courageously with their goals in sight. And then using the highest vibrational words and sound frequencies to ignite and fuel that journey. So that's me in a nutshell. I shared that with you because I want you to start thinking about your own identity work. Make a little collage like you saw on my header there and look at it each day. Think about the woman who you're becoming. It's beautiful. I know a lot of people who use the strategy of keeping a picture of their child, themselves as a child beside them, so that they can be a little more gentle and a little more nurturing. That's a few standard deviations above the norm, right? Most people don't do that. A few standard deviations above do because they're practicing that self care and self compassion. I want you at that highest level of standard deviation above the norm. So, we're going to talk about behaviors in that place. I want you to be able to look at yourself as you are today, with every beautiful wrinkle that represents a memory, with every little bit of sag that represents gravity and the beauty of Mother Nature. And I want you to look at that version of yourself with so much love too. In the aftermath of my cancer surgeries, I had to learn to do that. And it was really difficult because at the time I was dating someone who loved fake tatas. And I felt like mine were not as attractive as they had used to be, especially after losing 48 pounds and then having surgery and radiation on only one. I was feeling a little lopsided and learned that everybody is. Ugh, it was so hard. Anyhow, proof that we can do hard things. So, what you see in front of you is what I call the ladder of identity. For those of you who are listening on audio, I want you to sketch this in your journal. I literally had a gentleman I dated. I'm going to tell you his story here. He was raving to all of his engineer friends about this tool. He said, "Oh my gosh, Dr. J has the best tool that will change everything in your life. It can help you perform at high levels. It can help you with your spouse or your partner. It can help you with your child. This is the best thinking tool on the planet, in my opinion." I learned it at MIT. It was created by a gentleman, or it was introduced to me by the research by a gentleman named Peter Senge. And my role at the time was to take this gigantic, complex ladder that you can imagine the scholars of MIT thinking of every single detail, right? And every nuance. And to take this ladder and create it for elementary age children. So I had to think about what are the essential elements. In educational practice, we call this curriculum compacting. It's when you take everything and consolidate it. And then also I had to create an intentional scope and sequence where, as I backwards mapped that, what would a kindergartner need to know to be able to access this type of systems thinking? And then all the way up throughout the continuum of learners through middle school and high school. And so at the bottom rung of that ladder, I want you to write the word experience. Right above that, perspectives, beliefs, thoughts, actions. I'm going to go through a couple examples really fast to ignite your wheels and keep them turning. Again, your goal right now isn't mastery. I want you thinking about I am a woman who and the behaviors you're going to exhibit this weekend, because we behave our ways into the state of business that we want to achieve. Business is a behavioral task. Success at high levels in business is behavioral mastery. So let's get started. We're going to start with a very simple story. I'm starting with a dating story because everybody seems to be very entertained by my dating life, and everyone can relate to it. We've all engaged in relationships. So in the experience, I was dating a gentleman who had a daughter 1 year older than my daughter, Gigi. We had opposite parenting schedules. On one night, we decided to spend quality time together. He RSVP'd us to one of his friends' silent disco parties. You'll notice there's no emotion or subjective commentary in the experience, rung of the ladder. That is simply the facts. The perspective I had based on his behavior, so think spect means to see, spectator, spectacles, that means to see. So what I saw from that experience is he doesn't value our relationship. The best part about this tool is it acknowledges that what Harvard professor wrote in The Seven Sins of Memory, Our brains and minds do not capture every detail accurately, my friends. So we've got to judge ourselves and others a whole lot less and practice that loving, remember that fun, loving version of yourself that you get to bring to the party? Here she goes. So, in my perspective, he didn't value our relationship. I'm going to skip the beliefs rung for now because most of us just go from seeing to thinking to acting really, really fast. And most in our conscious minds don't actually get to the beliefs rung. So I'm going to skip that for now and then backwards track. So my thought was, why do I bother trying dating? This is such a waste of my time. And my actions were to call my closest girlfriend, who I've taught the ladder to, of course. We pull out the ladder, and I'm exploring how to communicate my feelings to this gentleman. And I'm mapping out, this is what I think, this is what I saw. And then here's the part where let's go back to the most critical question. That is the beliefs. So we start with a thought. Notice this requires us to slow down from that 110 mile per hour hamster wheel happening upstairs to God's pace, which is 3 miles per hour. So right now what I'm doing is slowing down. That's also activating my parasympathetic nervous system so that I can allow my amygdala to calm and quit hijacking my frontal lobe's ability to think critically, logically, and creatively towards a solution. So remember that thought I had was, why do I bother trying? This is a waste of my time. The belief that underlies that is he doesn't care about me. So I created this ladder and I felt really ready for this conversation. And my girlfriend says, how would you like to share this with him? And I thought, I don't know if I really want to share this ladder in my heart with him. And she said, why on earth not? Why would you not do that in your relationships? So as I climbed that ladder, I want you to think about, how did that narrative feel to you? Most of us don't spend this kind of time actually thinking about our thinking. This weekend, as we approach Memorial Day, lovely ladies watching, I want you thinking about this ladder. I'm going to go to the next slide and I want you to screenshot that. For those of you joining on Facebook Live, you're getting kind of the behind the scenes of this live training. So this next one is a must screenshot. The human condition has 5 different lives: caged, comfortable, charged, curious, and conscious. Most individuals that I'm working with are feeling all of these things on any given day. It's creating some degree of agitation in their lives. And instead of feeling fully charged and vibrant, they're starting to feel curious and like they're made for more. And that's where the consciousness and evolution of our consciousness comes into play. We have 3 states of consciousness that we experience when we're here on planet Earth. And most of us are a lot like where I was. We were crushing it in the 3rd dimension, slowly ascending into the 4th dimension without even being aware of that language. And the reason we're feeling those agitations, and some of those might come as a health condition, they might come as a challenge with a child who has an entirely different operating system than you do. They might come in the form of a really bad breakup, divorce. I'm seeing these kinds of agitations in all different aspects of our lives. And they're our greatest invitations. I want you to write that down in your notes. My agitation is my invitation to do something different. And that's what we're talking about today, is those behavioral choices that we can make that allow us to do something different with our lives. So let's slow down our thinking and remember to invite that I am a woman who. So if I believed he didn't care about me, am I a woman who would date someone who doesn't care for me? Absolutely not. I don't even work with people who don't truly care for me. I don't collab. I don't discuss. I don't engage with people who have the lower vibrational frequencies. So I have to raise that up and recalibrate how I see this situation. So I call this shift happens. That ladder that we just built, that is the, I call it my red light ladder. I actually write it in red pen. And then this is the green light ladder that I write in green. And so the experience is the same. Dating a gentleman who has a daughter 1 year older than mine, opposite parenting schedules. On the one night we have to spend quality time together that week, he RSVPs us to his friend's disco party, right? Perspectives, again, that's SPECT. How am I seeing it? I had to change how I saw things to change my beliefs, thoughts, and actions. So I shifted and instead said he cares for me and is excited for me to meet his friends and spend quality time together. That's the power of the ladder in conversation. I shared with him my ladder, and he was so surprised to to see that I saw he didn't care about me. He didn't value our time together. He was like, "Are you kidding me? That's not how I saw it at all. I saw that I wanted you to meet my friends. I wanted you to know everybody I knew. I was going all in." Now my belief changed. Notice I went from believing he doesn't care about me to, thanks to open conversation, he's thoughtful and planning a memorable night. I'm going to invite you to shift your beliefs about Memorial Weekend. You just wait till we get to that slide. Now my thoughts are, this man really cares about me. And my actions were that I felt in my heart and soul a greater trust and connection. So let's talk cancer. We could ladder this one out. A very unexpected challenge, right? I get laid off 5 months after making my wild dream come true. 2 days later, I get this aggressive cancer diagnosis. At the time, I'm managing a 5,800 square foot home overlooking the gorgeous Rocky Mountains, 5 acres, a barn filled with animals. I'm homeschooling my daughter. I'm taking her to horse competitions. I'm writing a book. I'm launching a business. I'm a little unprepared for cancer. I was like, I don't have time for this right now. My perspective was I wasn't given a voice in this layoff determination. My perspective was no one in my family has cancer. Why me? How could this be happening to me? And right after I tripled my mortgage, living my wildest dreams, following God, I'm a city girl. I had no intention of moving to the country. And in my initial perspective, I thought I have to hurry and hustle to get myself back on the path to success. Grind, grind, grind. And my belief was I have to work hard to achieve success. I have to make sacrifices. I'm going to tell you, my friends, it's that belief that led me to that disease. So I want you calibrating your beliefs deep, deep, deep. That's what we do in High Performance Leadership Academy. We can't do that in an hour kicking off Memorial Day weekend, but we can do that work, and it doesn't take very long. You can change the trajectory of your life in 12 weeks. That's all it takes. You can actually get started faster. It's just how much, if you think of the slope of the line of success, how steep do you want that line to be, right? Is it going to be a little bit upward? Are you going to change? The degree of change requires a little bit more time. So you've got to think about that as you're investing and planning for your own growth. My thoughts around that were, why wasn't I given a choice or a say in this determination? If I'd been in the office more, maybe this wouldn't have happened. What am I going to do with cancer? I'm not going to make it. First, we're going to lose the horse, then we're going to lose the house. And I did what psychologists call catastrophizing. I went down this rabbit hole, rode this roller coaster of, oh my gosh, I've got this. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my gosh. Like, cancer's no joke. You don't get to know the whole game plan. You have one test at a time, little by little. The first biopsy, oh great, your Ki-67 is a 51 on a 0 to 20 plus scale. That describes how fast it grows. You're like, oh, that can't be good. Oh, it's aggressive. Well, how aggressive? It's a grade 3, the most aggressive type. Awesome. Okay, now what are we going to do? Oh, due to the layoff, your insurance isn't working. We can't get this scheduled because you won't have that insurance at that time. Even though it was United Healthcare and United Healthcare under Cobra Plan. So we had so many hoops to jump through and didn't get to know the entire plan. And that's when I learned success is a mental game. And in that moment, I was so grateful for all of the investments I'd made in high performance coaching for myself, in training to certify as a high performance coach, because those were the skills that kept me on course. That's why I'm so passionate about this. I would have lost my you know what if it hadn't been for high performance psychology, physiology, productivity, persuasion, presence, and purpose. I was pulling out all those skills with my medical team to get action happening quicker than we were allowed to by the rules of the insurance game plan. So many different miracles that I had to assist in navigating to manifest into the world and strategically meander through. It was truly the most remarkable. Everyone involved was like, I can't believe this. I would literally, my friends, be sitting here with you fuzzy headed in the aftermath of cancer if it weren't for those tools and adding in a lot of research on the biobehavioral practices that can beat disease. Because cancer can't survive certain sound frequencies, my friends. Cancer can't survive an alkaline environment. Woo! Heck yeah, that's why we're going to talk about what we do differently in our lives. Because the norm, I met a woman just this weekend at the beach. She is a 3-time breast cancer survivor. And it breaks my heart when that happens because our medical care system is actually a sick care system. It is not a healthcare system. It only cares for you when you're sick. It doesn't teach you how to care for yourself and create optimal health. But fortunately, high performance, we have a chapter of our playbook is called physiology, and we focus on that. So the actions that I felt at that time, if I travel back, I was anxious and worried. I was ruminating. I was struggling to sleep. I wanted to eat all of my emotions away. However, because of cancer, I had to figure out what else to do with them instead of that. And I sat down, and every single day throughout the day, I had conversations with fear, doubt, and worry. It was like we were sitting at the dining room table, and I'd be like, Fear, what do you have to say? Doubt, worry, interesting. And I would sit and ruminate in that conversation. Now I sit down with high vibration, with strength, with courage, and with a little bit of badassery. It's a whole different dining room conversation, my friends. So let's talk Memorial Day weekend. As I promised, here's the slide. I want you living a Romans 12:2 weekend. Romans 12:2 was a verse that God brought me in a divine prayer in January of 2022. I wasn't even ready for this because I hadn't read the Bible in 18 years. I'd been busy studying leadership, high performance, neuroscience, psychology, physiology, all those fun subjects. And the Bible wasn't really of interest to me. I thought it was filled with a bunch of stories that I couldn't relate to about men who lived a long, 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 long time ago in a land far, far away that I couldn't picture. It didn't feel relevant to me. And when God brought this verse, I literally had to pick up my phone and I had to search, what does Romans 12:2 say? Get this. God brought me my life verse. He said, hey, honey, this is what you're all about. Romans 12:2 says, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Well, remember that normal distribution curve that I was telling you about? I have pictures of my daughter drawing that. I had a giant glass walled shower at my old house. And I have pictures of her when she was very little drawing the normal distribution curve and trying to figure out how she was going to solve problems with her friends when she was in kindergarten. I have always, for as long as I can remember, been interested in what do the best in the world do. In 4th grade, I started studying leadership because Mrs. Davis nominated me to be a leader and represent our school. And so I've always been studying what those outliers do. What do the best in the world do? And then my career in education led me to working with gifted and highly gifted and twice exceptional children. What do they do, right? I started seeing new normed patterns for the top, pick your percent, right? Top 1%, 2%, 5%. There's a lot of common patterns that those people have, and they experience the world differently as a result. So let's talk experience here. I asked ChatGPT to describe the current state of our world. Oh my gosh, that list, go ahead and try that. First of all, you can give ChatGPT a role for those of you who have less familiarity with the use of AI as a tool for your business. You can ask ChatGPT to assume the role. So I ask ChatGPT, please assume the role of a top 2% high performance coach leading a training on behavioral norms of elite performers. That's my role that I ask it to look at the world through that lens. And then, get this, I ask it to describe the state of the world to lead a training on the norm you want to avoid. It says, and I mean, it spit out the longest list. I can actually show you. Let me see if, okay, perfect. Oh no, it does say share this tab instead. I'm not sure I want to derail us too far into this, but I'll read the highlighted bullets. Health crises in the COVID-19 pandemic, economic uncertainty, social and political tensions, climate change and environmental issues. After those 4 detrimental things, we finally get to something that could have a glimmer of hope: technological advancements, cultural shifts and social change, resilience and adaptations. So even ChatGPT has a negativity bias already. 4 negatives and 3 positives when we look at the outputs. Kind of sad, right? So what you see in the experience rung, for those of you watching on screen, seeing the training slides, the experience rung is the summary of those things in ChatGPT. Says the current global situation is marked by a mix of significant challenges and opportunities. While health crises, economic uncertainty, social tensions, and environmental issues present serious obstacles, there is also a strong undercurrent of resilience, innovation, and efforts towards positive change. People are navigating a complex landscape, striving to build a better future in the face of adversity. Yes, yes, and yes. Absolutely, Teresa. Isn't it a big wow that ChatGPT can do that? You can do that with your book, girl. Let's go, my friends. We're talking about living. Teresa, you're going to love this as a fellow believer. You were talking about having a Romans 12:2 holiday weekend and not conforming to the patterns of this world that lead us to these outcomes. That if we want different output, we need different input. I have this in front of me all day, every day. It is my quality of life stock flow diagram. That's another systems thinking tool we cover in High Performance Leadership Academy. I look at and analyze the inputs that affect the quality of my life and the outputs I'm striving towards. My outputs are I want to have remarkable clarity. I want time and financial freedom. I want high degrees of energy. And that fuels focus, productivity, and my vibrational energy. My vibrational energy fuels the experience and feelings of love, which is one of the highest vibrational words. We talk about the 3 highest vibrational words to manifest from in the academy. And from that space of love, I take courageous action, which brings me greater joy and greater influence. And so those are interconnected themes that are the outputs of the things that we're going to talk about doing this weekend. So my perspective, so remember that next rung of the ladder is perspectives, the way we see the world. When I allow stress and overwhelm to characterize my life, I turn to addictive substances like food and alcohol on holiday weekends as an escape. I don't want you designing a life that you have to escape from. Right? Why have we designed our lives that way? Why do we feel so compelled to make long lists of to-do items that we never finish, by the way, and notice that we're never on that list? So our inputs, we need different inputs to achieve better outcomes. So when you know better, you do better, as my dear friend Maya Angelou teaches. So I want you to write this equation down. This is the formula for change. If you want to change where you're at, this is the simplest thing you do. Knowledge plus emotion plus action. You've got to know better to do better, right? I just met a lovely gentleman who's the detective of the year last year. And he's always so surprised when he hears me talk about food. He's like, I didn't know food could do that. I'm like, yeah. Food can actually awaken your connection to God. It can heighten your ability to hear God. Ooh, ooh. Let's get some of those thumbs up. So that's very exciting, right? Knowledge. When we know better, we can do better. It was thanks to Chris Carr's book, Crazy Sexy Diet, that I even knew that I could use food to change the trajectory of my disease with cancer. Then add emotion. We have to feel like it to some extent. And that might be we have to regulate how we feel. That's why this ladder is so important. Because when you change what you look at, you change your emotional state of vibration. And you change how you feel about something when you can see it in a positive way. At the time of my diagnosis, I did not know that cancer was going to be one of the top 5 seasons of my life. It was one of the best. I was kind of sad when it was all wrapping up. I told my breast surgeon, I said, I don't want this to end. I love it. I'm so connected to humanity. I'm so connected to my own humanness. I've been able to actually express my feelings, ask for help, receive help, and reciprocate and show love and generosity and help others in exchange. It's been the most beautiful way of life. And then she said, why does that have to end? I said, you're right, it doesn't. How beautiful is that? And then action, taking inspired action. And remember how we talked about, I am a woman who. We're not defeated, baby. You're in the top, pick your percent. You have made it through 100% of the hard days. That means your record is undefeated so far. So let's step into that greatness. Let's step into that brilliant beauty identity that's within us. And now my perspective for this weekend is I nourish my mind and body with food and biobehavioral choices that cultivate divine abundance and flow in my life. I notice it when I'm eating really, really well. I hear God. And it's amazing because I got to meet God during my cancer journey and it was absolutely incredible. And now I chase that. I want more and more interactions with God. And I love the divine abundance. We drove into St. Augustine to pick up gowns for my brother's formal wedding. Literally, I get there 11 minutes after the show, after the store opens. The owner happens to be walking out. She remembers me. She comes in, puts the dress on, says, "Let me just do that alteration real quickly while you wait." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I planned for 2 days there just because I knew she'd have to do it first thing that morning and then maybe take that day to work on it and then I'd get to pick it up the next day. Divine flow and abundance. Then we go to PetSmart because we're adopting these beautiful little kittens that a newfound friend, not an accident, not serendipity, guided by the divine, had taken in these kittens and we'd been assisting her and her husband in caring for them and we had decided that we were going to adopt two of them. So I said, why don't we, since we have some time before we check into the Airbnb, why don't we go to PetSmart real quick and check that off our list, right? I'm always managing the minutes. I can't help it. Even when I want to relax, I'm managing the minutes. So we pull into the parking lot of PetSmart and there's this store called Aldi that they have here in Florida. And this particular store happens to have the kind of pet food that the foster parents that we'd been assisting said they liked best. I looked at my daughter and I was like, you can't make this up. Then we wanted to go to our favorite place for calamari. And we drive around to it. And that particular day, Circle K was having, on Thursday, Circle K had 40 cents off per gallon from 4 to 7 p.m. So I was going to fill up my tank because I love being a smart and savvy spender and saver. And so as I pulled into the restaurant where we were going to eat calamari, you want to know what was on the same block? Circle K. I was like, wow. I didn't even notice Circle K there when we went to St. Augustine for the first time. So it was absolutely amazing, just divine blessings and things being in flow. And when we take biobehavioral choices and pair that with mindset, that's the kind of experience we have through life. It's beautiful. It elevates our business success. I literally use these tools and manifested a client. I just picked up the phone. I said, "Hey, you were on my mind this morning and I just wanted you to know I'm praying for you. What can I manifest into reality for you? And by the way, I don't know if this would be of interest to you, but I'm learning that the divine is working miracles in my life." And I shared a little story about this gentleman that I dated in 2018 reaching out to me and the words just resonating deeply in my soul and freeing me. And as I shared, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I have goosebumps. Yes, sign me up. I want to do whatever, anything with you." And it was like all of the logic, all of the reasoning, all of the plays that I thought I had to deploy strategically were just, the doors were opened. Easy. Easy perfection is what happens in our days when we are aligned with the divine. So, from perspectives of, because I now see the world that what I eat matters a lot in my connection to God, what I eat matters a lot in my level of inflammation in the body. I weigh myself every day not to be able to criticize myself or determine whether I'm sexy or not based on some certain number that the scale says, but I actually weigh myself just to see how bad was what I did yesterday to my body. The scale will tell you how much inflammation you're carrying. You feel it in that fluffy, bloated feeling, right? And my cancer journey, dropping 48 pounds, I now have like rockin' abs. So I feel the bloat whenever I eat anything. I feel it in ways that are even more sensitive than what I did whenever I was a little more on the fluffy, fatigued brain fog because I was eating garbage. In my stress, I used to live the life of dying for Memorial Day weekend to come so that I could enjoy. And what I really was doing is I was avoiding. I heard this wonderful woman who's a massive business upscaler and investor. She said, often what we call self-care is actually avoidance. Let's be honest about it. You shouldn't be designing a life you need to avoid. And I thought, yes. And that was actually what inspired me to say, I'm going live with this training Saturday morning. So back to the slides for those of you joining live in the training room. So that's the perspective rung, is I nourish my mind and body with food and biobehavioral choices that cultivate divine abundance and flow in my life. That's what I'm choosing to do this weekend. And I'm going to share with you, I made a big, bold goal. No sugar this weekend. And I'm going to show you at the end of this the one thing that's going to help me stay on course to not do it. Beliefs. My belief rung is the most important, but for now, again, I'm going to skip that and go to when I see that, what are the thoughts that come, right? Because often we experience, we see, we think, we act. We go through that super fast. So my thoughts are, I changed the trajectory of my disease with food and biobehavioral choices. I know food impacts my emotions and my ability to regulate them. I'm raising a teen, so I need a lot of emotional regulation right now. I know that good food equals good mood. Food impacts my energy, my level of optimism. What I eat impacts my endocrine and immune systems and can lead to a host of diseases and chronic conditions, including anxiety, depression, headaches, heart disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, arthritis, allergies, asthma, obesity. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's like amazing how much food impacts. Go ask ChatGPT. And so my action is to do my 3-step plan. Those of you who saw my training from the beach yesterday, I was walking the shore. It's release is step 1, rest and rewire step 2, reveal is step 3. That's a pretty critical, if you know, I don't know what that means, or if that doesn't make sense to you, I would highly encourage you to watch that training. It's long. Gina, welcome, my friend. I'm leading a training, but I'm also Facebook Living. Gina was with me at that training on the beach. Good morning, sunshine. I celebrate you because in Colorado, holy cow, 6:20 in the morning, girl. You get it. Get it. I love it. I love it. We're the healthy ones. We're leading. We're talking right now about leading a Romans 12:2 holiday weekend. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. We nourish our minds and our bodies and our spirits with food and biobehavioral choices. So I want to invite you this weekend to release who you perceive you have to be, to rest and rewire yourself, and reveal a little more of your brilliance. So we're going to rewrite that narrative. And I want you to think about the words and their vibrational space. I just accidentally realized I had some slides that I didn't hide. And oh my gosh, that really almost set me off. I'm like, oh, but I wanted to put this on YouTube and I made a mistake. It's okay, my friends. Water off a duck's back. So I want you to note words and vibration. And for those of you who are joining me on Facebook Live, I'm sorry that you can't see my slides. You can Google Dr. Emoto, E-M-O-T-O, water crystal research, and then click images, and you'll see a whole host of beautiful water crystals. And these water crystals, when spoken to, express themselves in different ways. So you see these beautiful crystals when they've been spoken the words angel, I love you, peace, truth, wisdom, thank you, eternal. The expressions are gorgeous like snowflakes. And then you see, you fool, you make me sick, evil. And you see like toxic looking water. And it's amazing because Dr. Emoto actually took polluted water, prayed over it, and it changed its expression. Not only is that scientifically awesome, because water is just H2O, right? 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen. When I first saw this, I thought, how could that be? I mean, its chemical composition is the same, yet its physical expression is different. That's amazing to me. Well, what is also so amazing is that our bodies and our minds, our brain is about 70% water, our body is about 70% water. So let's reclaim the words we speak to ourselves over this weekend. Let's say, I am a woman who is strong, is courageous, practices extraordinary health and optimal living. Yeah, my friends. So your mindset determines the level of success that you'll achieve at any given moment. Your world expands in alignment with your personal growth. If you're not the best version of yourself, you'll never be the best CEO of your business. Who you are matters so much more than what you do. So let's make shift happen away from what and into who we are going to be. I want you in your journals. I am a woman who. So for me to be the woman who leads $1 million a year business, that's what I'm optimizing towards. So again, I told you, I've quadrupled my income once. I'm on the path to quadrupling it again. And when I'm at that $1 million per year marker, woo, this is what my tools are. I'm bringing you behind the scenes. For me, success beyond that norm, standard deviation. I'm not about the norm. Normal's boring to me. Some might be their first carnation here, so they're striving for normal. For me, normal is I am always looking to escape the norm. How many standard regressions above the norm, standard deviations above the norm can I achieve? Not regressions. We don't want to regress toward the norm. And that requires mindset and leadership training. I'm always training my mind. A coach that has a research-based strategy. I've had coaches before that are like, how's it going? What are you doing? How's it going? What are you doing? And the touch point's nice, but my girlfriends can do that. I like a research-based strategy so that I feel like I'm getting a university level course and someone alongside me helping me implement what I'm learning. Again, knowledge, emotion, and action leads to change. And most importantly, community. What I love about High Performance Leadership Academy is seeing women lifting other women. We text each other thoughtful messages. We send pictures of what's happening in our lives. And to be seen and to be celebrated is the most extraordinary experience that you will ever encounter as a business owner. So what you see on this slide is what we need to succeed. We need knowledge. We need support. So many of us have achieved success in a silo of silence and struggle. I don't want that for any woman. We need support. We need connection. We need to be seen and deeply connected. We need continuous coaching. We need to spend time with other game changers, people who sharpen us. Because we know we walk out that door into the mediocre middle of the world, whew, it's brutal, right? We got to go back into the world and then come back and recalibrate with other game changers, with other believers, with others who are elevated in their consciousness. We also need to be seen and celebrated. We need a strategic plan and someone walking alongside of us to put it into action and to maximize the minutes we have every day. Often I see women working really hard, but they're just not working really hard on the right things. And then they go, after they work so hard, and exhaust themselves by putting poisons and toxins into their bodies and carrying the negative narratives of thoughts that are also biobehavioral, creating toxins. And then our poor bodies have to work so hard to get out of that and into that high vibrational state of alignment with the divine. That's a lot of work. It can be easier, my friends. So the very special invitation that I'm here to share with you, lovely ladies, today is to become a 2024 founding member of High Performance Leadership Academy. You will receive in the program a private course membership area, live exclusive community and group support. Again, that's that group texting, group knowledge of each other, weekly live training with yours truly. I'm always studying on your behalf. As I mentioned, I just study for you. I love it. And then I bring all stacks of books and knowledge. Look at this. This is currently for my current clients what I'm studying. I just love it. I love being the geeky scholar for you. And this book that I'm saving for the end. Weekly live group training, so much fun to learn in community. And then the best part, live high performance leadership coaching. That's where you actually do the talking, you do the processing, you do the committing in a group setting. Oh my gosh, you learn so much from each other. It is amazing. Access to the boardroom, which is a private community. It's just a Zoom space. In all honesty, what we do, we turn our cameras on, we go around in a circle. Teresa, you'll recognize this because I borrowed this idea from the writing room. So the boardroom is just for entrepreneurs who want to share their ideas with others and get some feedback. So the boardroom is actually a workspace. We turn our cameras on, we share what we're working on, we turn our cameras off, we work heads down for an hour and a half, then we come back and celebrate what we achieved. I also have pop-ups where we do manifesting meetups. I have other pop-ups where we have feedback sessions where we just pour love and high vibrational energy into our work and we give each other feedback. And then my favorite, our Finish Strong Friday weekly celebrations where we elevate our level of success by celebrating our weekly wins. Good morning, Dan. How are you, my neighbor? And then bonus number 1 is a high performance strategy session with yours truly. Those of you in the training room, remember, I want you opening that portal of energy to align with the divine by claiming your goal right here, right now in the comments. I'm going to take all of the comments. Every single comment is an entry. So if you have more than one goal, enter it more than once. And all of those will lead you into drawing for a complimentary high performance strategy session valued at $497. You will get that for free. Good morning, Rika. Hello, Brilliant Beauty. We're wrapping up. I'm live on Facebook bringing you into my training room with female entrepreneurs who are striving to elevate the success of their business. And we're just wrapping up. It is so great to see you this morning. And then the second bonus, this one is my favorite, is how to design the day like a goat. The greatest of all time. You're going to be surprised at how they spend their days. I did a ton of research on how the best in the world spend their days, and I was absolutely astounded because my day was nothing like that. My day was, let's make a list, let's stress about it, and let's go as fast as possible ranking through these. The goats, the greatest of all time, their days are so different. And as I put those plays into my playbook and then pair that with the biobehavioral practices and the mindset training, unstoppable divine flow. So all of that, you can get yourself registered at go.drj.com. That's drjea.com/high-performance. And I want to invite you to make a choice right here, right now, line in the sand. Do you want to make choices this weekend that align with the mediocre middle and average? And we've talked about what that means, where average leads us in America. Or do you want to pick your percent, commit to your level of success in your business and in your life, and be the GOAT? You didn't come here to play small, my friends. Be the greatest of all time. Get out there, shine your light.